Okay, you're looking at the Z bar for the it's a 78 El Camino Malibu. A lot of different Chevys, GMs from 78 to 87 would be basically the exact same parts. It's the front driver's side wheel, left side, and this is your Z bar that comes off of the clutch. And I can get another shot of it from below, but you can see how it's bolted up to the frame. And this is actually a factory 4-speed car, and what I'm going to be doing is changing out, because this has got some serious slop in here. If you look at this, it still works, but you never know if that damn thing can let loose. So first thing, it's in order. I got a rebuild kit for it. It's got these balls that sit in on one side, and the other side that screws into the engine block. And let me see if you can see what it looks like underneath. It's probably good if you want to change this over to a 4-speed. You know, if you hear a lot of people, pretty much every freaking El Camino out there is a freaking automatic. You want to change it over to 4-speed. You would put the Z bar, it bolts up into the block. If you can see it right up there in the block, right there. It actually screws right into the block. There's a ball and a big felt gasket on there, and there's a Zerk fitting on the bottom where you can fill this up with grease. But this thing's got some play in it. It's had play in it since I bought this car actually in August of '91. I could never find these parts, but then they're available online. And actually online you can get all the conversion for changing your car over to a 4-speed. This might be a little bit useful for people changing over a car to a 4-speed from an automatic, because everything's here from the factory. You know, to bolt the holes in the frame in the right place and everything, you might have to open up a little bit of a hole for a pedal, where the pedals go, for the brake pedal and stuff. But it's pretty much all cars are set up to just bolt up a 4-speed with the Z bar. And the only thing else you'd have to worry about is, like, I have like a stock Y pipe coming off of here. If you got headers, it could possibly get in the way of the Z bar. That's the other thing you'd have to watch out for. But anything that's stock, it'll fit. Okay, I took the 3 bolts that secure this bracket to the frame. That's one end of the Z bar. They're just 3 bolts are like self-tapping that go into the frame. I think they're 9/16 or something. This is the ball that's threaded into the engine block itself. It was actually in there loose. I was able to remove it by hand. It wasn't even in there solid. So you could see it. You could see it straight ahead, right there. See where I'm pointing, just above the light. And I just disconnected, you know, from the bottom by the clutch. You can see it's just disconnected right there. That's the arm that goes to the clutch and the spring. Now this, I got to take this side off. There's a little clip inside there that comes out, and there's a plastic. I guess it's a bushing. It's called a bushing. It's a bushing on each side of the recirculating ball that's in here. Now, the one problem I'm probably going to have where it's going to be a little bit loose is it looks like it made a little bit of a dig in here. I think that's just supposed to be straight across, but it's going to be a hell of a lot better. The other thing is it wasn't even threaded into the block tightly. So the other problem is that this is a felt washer that's on there that's supposed to hold the grease, and those are like pretty much disintegrated. So, you know, that's one thing too. So we'll get that changed up right now. First, I'm going to put the side in where it goes into the block. But this will give you a good idea, like, how to set this up. If you got to put a change of 4-speed to 4-speed, you just, you can see like where the plate went right over here. Just these 3 holes will be in the frame already. About the only thing you really have to do is you might have to enlarge some hole through the firewall or create another hole in the firewall for where the clutch arm goes through. It may be there already though, but these 3 holes are already there. The hole in the block is already there. The only other problem you might have is you can see I have the stock exhaust Y pipe coming down. If you got headers, they might get in the way of the Z-bar. That's the other thing. But if you got a stock set up, and it shouldn't be hard to change over to a 4-speed, keep things nice and simple. Yeah, I just want to point out this is the setup, how it goes in. Like the Z-bar would be right here in between this. This threads into the block. The other one looks pretty good to me, man. I don't know. Sure this shit's the same size, man. Yeah, it's supposed to be GM new old stock, so looks about the same to me. It's probably a little bit yeah, it looks that's the same, about the same. It's probably a little bit different diameter. It could probably wore down a little bit. That's the new one. This side is the opposite side of the Z-bar. That goes through this. Right, you have it bolted up on that side, and there's actually this clip that goes inside here. Right, that's what holds that whole smear inside it, and then you got this on the outside that holds the grease in. Then you have these little plastic things. So there's like the beveled edge goes on the ball right here that holds the ball in nice and straight. That's it. So I'm going to put this in the engine block. Actually, I'm going to put a vernier caliper on that because I've got a feeling that's a little bit worn down, man. I was pretty surprised. Probably did wear down a little bit. So anyway, after I get this in, I'm going to grease it up really good. And there should be a washer on the end of this. Yeah, I don't see one there. Maybe there is one. I don't think there is one. No, it's missing. Missing a washer, man. There should be a washer on the end of that. So there should be a washer. That's one reason I got a little bit of play too. It's also missing a seal. You can see that too. So anyway, I'm going to take a shot too of underneath by the clutch pedal and the brake pedal in case you're doing a conversion. I mean, I'm not going to really be able to give you details exactly how to do the conversion, but this is probably the most nuisance right here. I'll show you where the spring is set up on the firewall and give you a shot underneath the car, underneath the dash to see how the pedals are. Because I think 4-speed cars are a hell of a lot better than, or 5-speed even, better than the stupid automatics. So definitely like 4-speeds better, and that was hard for me to find a factory 4-speed when I bought this car back in August '91. They were rare back then. Okay, so the one bushing is in there. Next, put the ball in there that sits on top of that, and the second bushing. Then after that goes a little clip. Get this in here all the way. And the little clip sits in that seal right in here. That should be it. Okay, the clip's in there. It's not pulling out. It's kind of a pain to get in there, but you can get it in there. So that part's done. Next, just going to put the washer on it. Some Loctite blue, and bolt it up. I'll give you a good video of how this thing is actually kind of set up. Well, it looks like this part is bad because part of the problem is there's a hairline crack right here. You can see that. Plus, it's been chewed up over here because the way this bolt holds in place is it's flat on one side. It's flat on that side like that. That's what holds it in place. So you can tighten up the nut to go against that. But I didn't mind it being chewed up a little bit, but I noticed there's a crack right here. Not all the way through, but that ain't good. That is not good. So I'm gonna bolt it up. I'm not gonna use the car. I'm gonna actually replace this part instead of welding it, because I don't really trust my welds, and that's a highly critical area. So let me get this part and get this changed up. But anyway, let's get this bolted up and put together for now. That's where I was having to play, actually, right in this piece versus these balls in here and stuff like that. And there's a grease fitting that is on this shaft on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but it's about an inch, a couple inches in from that side, from that tan washer, and it's on the bottom. You just grease it up and you fill it up with grease, and the side that's in the engine is bolted in there nice and tight. So yeah, I don't like that. That's not too cool. This is not good right here. So I'm gonna get this piece replaced right now. Now under here you got the fork that goes into the bell housing. You got this bar that goes to the bottom of the Z bar, and there's a spring that attaches to the bottom of the Z bar, and it goes into the arm that goes into the bell housing, the clutch fork. So that's the bottom. I'm probably going to weld that piece up anyway, because I'm probably going to use the car in the meantime while I'm waiting for the part. So that's how this is set up. If you don't know, I mean, if you know it's simple, fine. You know it's simple. You don't need to watch this, but that's how it is. And again, that's bolted up into the side there. You see where it's bolted into the engine. The Z bar is bolted into the engine. So that's in there nice and solid. It wasn't in there loose. I mean, this thing was ready to fall out. I was using this thing. I was probably like this for years. You know, I guess the show goes to show you it's kind of wedged in there anyway. It's a top view. You can see it's bolted into the engine straight down there. It comes through the firewall right over here, right below the brake booster, directly below the brake booster. Looks like it's exactly below it. So here's your brake. Looks like it's exactly below it. So there's probably a hole there, you know, right from the factory. So if you're going to do a you know, 4-speed conversion, you could do it. I'm probably gonna weld it up probably tonight. I got some 40 flux wire, and I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna clean up that part really good. If it comes out really good, I won't replace it. And you know, I'd imagine you probably there's probably a hole there from the factory. You can see it's directly in line with the steering column, and I think this whole thing just bolts up, you know, up in here. I can tell you one thing. My friend of mine it's a long time ago, he had a 66 Mustang with a real super heavy duty zoom clutch. He kept bending these arms, and he welded an extra thing to this so he wouldn't bend it. I had like a zoom clutch in here when I bought this car, and that was putting a lot of strain on the components of this shit. I changed it out actually back in the 90s to a regular clutch, and it's been like that ever since. So that's probably where a lot of that strain came from, because if you get a super strong clutch, you want to get a center force. You don't want to get one of those ones that a heavy duty clutch spring, because it screws this shit up. Actually, on the 66 Mustang, this stupid thing bent even when it was doubled up after a while. That's how heavy this stupid clutch was. Well, you know, playing race car shit and everything, so whatever. Anyway, so well, that was a conversion, a 4-speed conversion, so maybe he had something misaligned, I don't know, but I don't think so. It was just a ridiculous clutch. So that's just a word of advice. Don't go putting these crazy clutches in it, because you will screw up a lot of this shit, believe me. So hopefully that helps with some things. Yeah, and again, here's the grease fitting right here. Right there. You see that's the end of it. I'm going to keep this little white washer on the end of that so it doesn't wear out that felt. And there's the grease fitting down there. It'll fill it up with grease. And again, this has like a flat spot on it. So when you tighten down the bolt, fits through here. Just slide that through. And when you tighten this down, it doesn't turn. But since this is all boogered up, hang it up, you know, it ain't gonna work. And then when you slide that through and you bolt it down, then you just, you know, since it's on there's the ball in here, you just turn it, turn that, and you just bolt it up to the frame. So, like I said, I'm going to try to weld this up tonight. I'll clean it up really good. It'll probably be alright, actually, to tell you the truth, because it's been like this so damn long. I have a standard clutch in here now, so it should not be too much strain on it, but I think I'm going to change that part out anyway.